So most people's training eventually dries up, it eventually fizzles out, and they eventually quit. So how can you be the exception? Here's how. Hey guys, Jim Schultz here with you guys for the Daily Bread. So today, I've got three things for you. I've got three little tactics that you can start doing today. And if you start putting these into place, if you start actually doing these three things right now, man, your probability of sticking with your program, it increases by 59%, according to the F Cubed Institute of Research and Technology. Now, the way I want to do this thing today, we're going to have a little bit of fun with today's piece. We're going to do this fill in the blank style, right? Like, let's all remember back in fourth grade when we were trying to scurry to fill in our homework before the teacher collected it. Today is going to feel a whole lot like that. But before we even get into that, let's all be clear on something. At some level, you're just going to have to swallow the frog. Like, you are not going to necessarily love every single element of your training. And there might be some parts that you really, really dislike. That's unavoidable to some degree, right? Like upping your broccoli intake. The thought of upping your broccoli intake, that might twist up your knickers a little bit. The thought of not being able to skip leg day anymore, that might rustle your jimmies a little bit. To some degree, you can't avoid this. But here's the good news. Just a little bit beyond that point, just a little bit beyond that initial inertia of suck that you've got to get through. There's a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of things that you can do to make the probability that you actually make progress so much higher. And that's what we're going to talk about and focus on here today. So first on the docket today, we're going to shoot from strength here this afternoon. You've got to choose a program that you enjoy. Right? Like, hard training is hard. Right? Like, constantly challenging yourself, it's going to be a challenge at times. So the last thing you want to do is have something in place that you really do not like to do, that you really despise doing, and you don't look forward to getting in the gym at all. That is not going to work. That's going to be a recipe for disaster. So do the exact opposite. Right? Like, put something in place that you really enjoy. Like, put something in place that you really, really look forward to. And then your chances of making it, man, they double, they triple, they quadruple, they quintuple, they whatever six is, that's what you got. So for example, let me give you guys a real concrete example of this. If you really love dumbbell bench press, then you should probably include dumbbell bench press. If you really, really dislike doing walking lunges, as if anyone likes doing walking lunges, you probably shouldn't include walking lunges. Right? Like, unless you're training for a very specific purpose, where you have to do very specific movements, nothing has to be included and nothing is off limits. So customize something, tailor something that you really, really enjoy and gets you stoked and gets you fired up to get in there. So second, and this is something that I discovered in my many, many years of competing as a competitive bodybuilder, don't be afraid to cut your output by about 20%. On those days when you don't want to be there, don't be afraid to just lighten up the loads, just lessen the work capacity, and then put the work in. There were so many days, many days over the years when I was like, man, the last thing that I want to do today is train. Like, the literal last thing that I want to do today is train. The dentist, the DMV, I don't even care. Just get me out of here. I do not want to train. So if you feel similar to that, and it's going to happen, it happens to every single one of us, then do yourself a favor and don't be afraid to cut that output. For example, instead of doing 5 sets of squats at 225, do 4 sets, or maybe the same 5 sets, but only do 185. Right? Like, that's going to be so much easier. If 225 is your normal working weight, then 185 is going to feel like a feather. Right? 185 is going to feel light as all get out. Put your work in and come back tomorrow and get after it. One day, in the grand scheme of things, which took me a really long time to realize, is not going to make that big of a difference. It's not going to make a lick of difference. So just get in there, put your work in, lighten up that load, and you will be so much better off for having done that. All right, so lastly, and number 3 today, this is one you've probably not heard before. Number 1, even number 2, you're like, yeah, Jim, I've heard that before. Give me something new. Here you go. Share your training. Share it with somebody, right? This could be, your training partner. That would be an obvious choice. This could also be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse. This could be the dudes and the dudettes at the gym. Just shoot the breeze before or after your training session. Hey, this could be you on your own YouTube channel. Whatever it is and however you decide to do it, like share what's going on with other like-minded fitness enthusiasts and listen to what they're doing. Like the community that you will build, the camaraderie that you will build. Like you never know who you might meet. You never know how what you're doing might help somebody else. And you never know what kind of tips and tricks you might pick up from somebody else. And most of all, you're just going to have a lot more fun. Now, I think we all secretly want to be, Jason Bourne, do everything independently, do everything in isolation, sleep on the floor of the hotel room with no pillow. Like, I got it, but that's not real life. I mean, Jason Bourne himself wasn't even dependable. When they took Matt Damon and swapped him out for Jeremy Renner, like we're not paying attention, like nobody's gonna notice. Fail. So instead, don't do this alone, man. Don't go on this journey alone. Like share it. Share it with the world. Share it with your community. Share it with your bros and your bro sets that are all around you. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. That is the daily shred. You guys made it to the end. If you guys made it this far into the broadcast, man, I am so humbled. I'm so thankful that you invested in the show today. Hopefully you got a few tips and some tactics and some insights into how to improve your training. Like that's my overall goal with what I'm trying to do here. If you guys want to hit me with a like, a share, or a subscribe on your way out the door, that would be amazing. But I will see you guys next time.